I used to think the worst part of what happened to me was the moment itself, but it wasn't. The real damage came afterward. Quiet, patient, almost polite the way it settled into my life. Shame doesn't storm in, it seeps, it waits, and then one day you wake up and realize it's ruining everything. I just stopped trusting my own reactions, and if someone crossed a boundary, I convinced myself I'd somehow invited it. If someone hurt me, I replayed every second looking for the thing I did wrong. That's what toxic shame does. It rewrites the story until you're the villain in your own memory. Depression started creeping in, slowly. Rumination began. First it took my mornings, and then my appetite, and eventually the ability to look people in the eye. And then came the worst part. The part that no one warned you about. The contradiction that rips you apart. I couldn't be around people without feeling exposed and overwhelmed, but being alone was even worse. Alone was loud and frightening and gave me nothing to hide behind. That's the complexity that people don't see, wanting connection and avoiding it at the same time. I was afraid of both. For a long time, I kept myself busy just to avoid thinking. I worked late, I cleaned things that weren't dirty, I scrolled until my eyes felt like they were gonna bleed. Anything to avoid being still, but the truth has a way of catching up with you. One afternoon, just walking, a wave of grief hit me so hard it reminded me of the fragile moments that got me here. Not for what happened, but for the years I spent believing I deserved the fallout. For the first time, though, I admitted it. I admit it, not to anyone else, just to myself, that something happened to me. And it wasn't my fault. It's not my fault. And the words didn't feel good, they felt strange, like they belonged to somebody else and somebody more put together. But saying them opened the smallest bit of space inside me, just enough that I can breathe without panicking, without bracing myself for pain and hurt and suffering. I didn't heal instantly, but I didn't feel brave either, but I made a quiet promise in that moment to myself. I wasn't gonna keep treating myself like the perpetrator, and next I'll trust myself enough to let somebody in so I can allow them to support me the way that I need. And I know it's still gonna be a journey and it won't be easy, but depression, even though it still lingers and the shame still sucks, I'm learning to survive with it. And sometimes the survival is just telling the truth to myself so I can accept myself and not blame myself for the other people's indiscretions, and for now, that's courage.